great group of brilliant and very intelligent people in the room that really could help me to select the best wheel for this year. And I think one of the things, my brief was very simple, was pretty much we have to find things that people want to watch and rewatch, and it has to touch the brands, art, and especially the thing is to share the money. So we ended up with the 2 Grand Prix. One is for TV, and it's a Grand Prix that's really hijacked a big event in the US. And I think it's a very popular, very funny, and brings humor back to our industry, which is very good, because we have to add humor and other emotions and not work. So the first one, I'd like to invite you guys to watch.
Super Bowl car, right? Or a hilarious mayor ad, or whatever ad this is. But it's a tie ad.
What? It's a tie ad. What makes it a tie ad? There are no stains. Look at those clean clothes. What else would this be an ad for? A razor?
Tie ad. Cold, refreshing. Tie ad.
Meet the all-new.
It's a Tide ad. Tide.
So, does this make every Super Bowl ad a tie ad?
I think it does. Watch and see. The head only means, is your man the kind of man who would climb the height? I'm gonna tie it. Nice pants. Get off my books.
Tie ad.
Beautiful. Like a tie-dye. Sarah. It's a tie-dye. Sometimes the signs are hard to read. Whenever you see clothes this clean, that's a tie-dye.
Clean clothes may be an indication of a Tide ad. Tide produces the 10 times more cleaning power. Tide is the number one detergent in America.
So, the second one is from the same brand, the same company, but it sets a totally different mood, which brings us a valuation that they believe in creativity. But in this other film, for this other Grand Prix, it brings to the people the chance to talk, to think about it, and reflect the days we are living today.
Who said that?
The lady at the store.
That is not a compliment.
Listen, it's an ugly, nasty word, and you were going to hear it. Nothing I can do about that. But you are not going to let that word hurt you. You hear me?
There are some people who think you don't deserve the same privileges just because of what you look like. It's not fair. It's not.
Remember, you can do anything they can. Difference is you gotta work twice as hard and be twice as smart. Come straight from under practice. You got your idea? Guess it's tough.
How's your review?
We're good.
Good? You see?
Good.
Okay. Good. Now, when you get pulled over,
I'm a good driver.
okay, don't worry. This is not about you getting a ticket. This is about you not coming home.
I'm gonna be okay. Right? Okay. It's not fair. But you keep showing up.
You are not pretty for a black girl. You are beautiful, period. Okay? Don't ever forget that.
Okay, the next category is a new category of can lines in 2018, the Sustainable Development Goal lines. Just a note, which I think is an important note, is that the entries were in excess of 900, but all of the proceeds from entries into can lines for the Sustainable Development Goals will be donated to Sustainable Development Goals causes in the next couple of months. You may think it's very uncanny to do that, but we really believe in this. The President, Mark Tutzel. Welcome, Mark. Thank you.
There's only one winner in this category, and that's the human race. This award really shines a light on creativity as a force for good, and I honestly believe, hand on heart, that this will become the most important line within our industry in the future, because it forces us to come together as one and act as one and create solutions for the world's problems. The goal, I think, is to make this ring, this multicolored 17-colored ring, as famous as the Olympic rings. It has to stand for creativity as a force for good, and we have to act as an industry. I was fortunate to work with some incredible people, some incredibly gifted people who looked at amazing work from around the world. And we saw so many things that tackled problems in different ways. The 17 different global goals that the SDG have identified as must-fix by 2030, had some amazing ideas amongst them. But at the end of the day, we had one winner, which was an idea that really was the freshest. And secondly, it was one that we can scale and act upon and amplify and activate geographically around the world. And that winner was Blue Pledge.
Now if you're heading to the Pacific island of Palau, you'll be signing up to a new pledge.
Human impact on Earth's environment is one of the biggest challenges facing the world today. The small island nation of Palau was feeling these impacts acutely. Tourists were damaging reefs, littering oceans and poaching protected species. But how could a small local population with limited resources police the high volume of visitors? What if we made the tourists police themselves? Introducing the Palau Pledge, a first of its kind immigration policy for good. All visitors now need to sign an environmental pledge to gain admittance into Palau. Stamped into the passport of international arrivals, the pledge is a formal promise to Palau's children.
Children of Palau,
I take this pledge
to preserve and protect your beautiful and unique island home.
To implement this policy, government, the tourist industry and citizens were brought together. A new visa entry stamp was designed and issued in multiple languages, and immigration laws were permanently changed.
The joy that comes with the pledge is the recognition that, hey, I can make a difference.
But we didn't stop at the passport stamp. We redesigned the tourism experience via a website, an in-flight film, a passport insert, local education, business accreditation, signage, penalties, and collateral. Launched at the UN, the Palau Pledge has been praised by international leaders and groups. Influencers helped inspire people to take the pledge online in solidarity with Palau.
Are you already seeing tourists behaving differently?
The awareness level is very high.
Leonardo DiCaprio has been quick to endorse the pledge.
The reaction on social media has been widespread.
The Palau Pledge has raised global awareness of the responsibility this generation has to the next, but its biggest impact is local in Palau.
I hope my children can see a beautiful place as I see today.
Face in the oceans, that there'll be more plastic in the world's oceans than fish. But we did have an outage, and it's something I urge everybody in this room and everybody on this planet to focus on, is that the gap we have in the three categories, probably the three most important categories, which are water, education, poverty, and hunger. For those four categories, we need to focus. We need to put the collective firepower, brain power of our industry and client communities and nations to focus on these huge issues that we face moving forward. And if we honestly believe that creativity can change the world, we can do it, but we have to do it together as one ecosystem. So I invite you all to step up to the plate and take action. I'd like to hand over to Mahi Nasser from the United Nations just to say a few words.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning to all of you. My name is Mahi Nasser. I'm with the UN Department of Public Information. I'm here to thank the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity for its collective support for the Agenda of 2030, Sustainable Development Goals. Special thanks, of course, to Terry, to Mark for chairing the first SDG jury and the entire jury. We need to ingest a sense of urgency in the 2030 agenda. Time is running out. We have 12 years left. And looking back at the last 3 years since the agenda was adopted, your industry, the advertising industry, was the first to commit as an industry to supporting the SDGs with Common Ground. That was a pledge made by the 6 largest companies to Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, with support from SAWA, with initiatives like the introduction of the SDG Cannes Lion Award, which hopefully will help us change business as usual. We live in a planet with finite resources, and those resources need to be sustainably managed, and you are the industry that manages the brands, manages the industry, everything we consume. How do we change behavior? How do we make it sustainable? How do we inject change from just changing awareness to action? And many of the submissions that we looked at, were looked at by the jury, were about that. We need more of it. As Mark said, we looked at 4 major, really incomplete areas that we did not find something that completely addressed them. So with that, looking forward for this becoming a real landmark in the future festivals, and many thanks to all of you for supporting it. Every submission is a winner because, as Mark said, you are submitting to support a change in the future of our children. And please do not call them the UN Sustainable Development Goals. They are the world's sustainable goals. They are your goals. It's Agenda 2030. It's our agenda. Thank you.
You know, it's an interesting thing that Cannes Lions is a reflection of this industry. Most of the great ideas that ultimately you see originating in Cannes Lions aren't thought of by us. They're thought of by the industry leaders. Claudia Gonzalez brought to us the idea of sustainable development goals. And our next president, Madonna Badger, has brought to us the importance of not objectifying gender. So really, it's you as an industry that drives us forward, and that's why I think our event is so successful. But having said that, Madonna, it's over to you.
Good morning, everyone. So this was my first year to be a president on the jury. It was my second year to be on the jury, and it was an honor and a great, great privilege. The entries were diverse, they were strong, they were representative of global culture, and their goal for a more equal world, of course, was very evident. And what all the winners had in common this year is that they showed us the underlying issues that need to be addressed so that real systemic change can happen. The Grand Prix winner is the epitome of creativity impacting society, how we think, engage, speak, and act about gender on a global basis. Blood Normal is the 2018 winner of the Grand Prix. I'm just going to say a couple of things about this because it was so personal for all of us on the jury. Blood Normal is masterfully art-directed and a very well thought-out multi-layer campaign that goes and sheds light into the dark corners of period shame. Those are their words. Girls and women get their periods. We all know this. Every jury member knew this because we're all adults. And yet we were so squeamish and freaked out about this entry. We were so uncomfortable as a group talking about it and what it meant, and when we saw it on our own. It was when the women came and gave us the live presentation that they reminded us of why this work is so important. So many young women and girls are ashamed about their periods. And this happens at a very important rite of passage, when a girl physically becomes a woman. And as our bodies are changing in the most natural way, like the sun goes up and the sun comes down, why our bodies are changing so that we can carry life, if that's what we want to do. The majority of girls around the world are shunned, and we're in every country. We're told we're gross, we're disgusting, we're teased and we're mocked. Or we're put in some parts of the world, girls are even taken out of school, so that means they lose about 3 months of school every year. Girls getting or having their periods is treated as unclean, isolating, embarrassing, and, you know, having 50% of the world's population feel ashamed for something that naturally happens is not good for any of us. So when we talk about what's really holding girls back in sports, in STEM, in so many different subjects, this reminded me that this was one of the main reasons why. Blood Normal, created by AMV BBDO for Liberous Body Form, addressed these issues head on. Without holding back, they actually showed period blood on a pad instead of blue water, which is a construct that advertising created. We bleed blood, which we seem to have no problem seeing anywhere else in culture, movies, or TV shows. Blood Normal also expressed periods in an outstanding creative campaign. It's absolutely fantastic. And to express the profound effect this campaign has had on me personally in a very short time, I am not afraid to say the word period over and over again at an international press conference. Before, I would only say the word menstruate. I'm pretty sure I say that wrong, because that's what I was told was proper when I was a girl. Yesterday, every jury member was 100% clear. The vote was 100% unanimous that the Grand Prix for the glass line would be Blood Normal. So congratulations to Liberous Body Form for your bravery, and AMV BBDO for your brilliance. We hope the parent company of Liberous Body Form, Essity, will now take this campaign to every part of the world. We need this campaign everywhere for our society and our girls. Thank you.
Introducing Blood Normal, a campaign some hated. But that's no surprise. We live in a world that hides periods and shames women for having them.
Schoolgirl commits suicide after she was shamed by her teacher for period stains.
But the way to end the taboo is to normalize it. Normal period blood. In a normal pad demonstration. Normal period pain. Period sex. Men buying pads. And women asking for them normally. We even use the broadcast band to our advantage to prove periods are not yet normal. The film was a springboard. Each scene contained an activation to normalize periods in different areas of culture. We produced designer period underwear with French fashion house Dessous. Pad-shaped lilos for influencers to share without shame. Ran period-positive workshops in schools. Launched a short film competition and got a 12-year-old comedian to write period jokes into her routine.
My friend Amara wished when she was on her period she bled confetti and glitter. He'd be like, "Congratulations, you're not pregnant."
Blood Normal is working. Empathy is killing shame.
This is a first in terms of advertising.
That's the reality of having a period. It's not complex. Everyone can be more empathetic and understanding.
really applies to it, honestly.
Through our own media, we made it onto the broadcast channels they tried to ban us from. Blood Normal is helping create a new normal for billions of women and girls.
I think it's a real indication of the inclusiveness of creativity in the world we live in that we have a CMO as the president of the Cannes Lions jury. I think it adds the richness of the festival that we have that. And welcome, Fernando, and if you'd like to talk about Rueda.
Thank you. It was a huge honor to be jury president. It was already a dream come true to be on the jury last year. So jury president was like way beyond my wildest, most optimistic dreams, to be honest. And it was a real privilege to spend like 2 days locked in the dungeon of the ballet with like an awesome group of people. Like we have like very, very experienced people, clients, agency, planners, and the discussion was so rich. You know, to me, like the biggest measurement of how rich the discussion was is the fact that people do change their mind during the discussion because they hear arguments from a diverse point of view, different points of view, and they're humble enough to change their point of view, and that to me showed that how rich the discussion was. In Critical Effectiveness, every single entry that we had already had some recognition in Cannes before, so the bar set very high. As a team, we decided that we would focus on business results, cultural impact, and how disruptive the idea was. We had a very short list. We ended up awarding 3 golds and had a discussion to elevate one of them to be the Grand Prix. And our decision in terms of the Grand Prix, and by the way, that's true for the golds and for the silvers, for all the awards, there was a very clear link between the idea and the specific result. And we do believe that the cases could have been even better in terms of showing the link. So the campaigns that reached to the top, the link was a stronger idea result. And we end up awarding with the Grand Prix a campaign that's not a campaign, it's a solution, right? I mean, it's a huge partnership between client and agency that we're able to dig in and find a real insight and come up with a product, idea, campaign which solves like a real problem by inserting the solution as part of the routine and the existing behavior of people. So the Grand Prix Creative Effectiveness is Savlon, short stick, and let's take a look at the case study.
Kids love to use their hands. Kids explore the world with their hands. In India, they use their hands for one more thing: eating. Not washing their hands with soap is one of the main causes for illnesses and dropouts. In rural schools of India, kids still use chalk and slate to write. So Savlon, one of India's leading hygiene brands, gave shape to a simple idea: chalk sticks infused with soap. Introducing Savlon Healthy Hands Chalk Sticks. These worked just like regular chalk sticks, but at lunch break they did more than just writing. The chalk powder turned into soap on its own. Schools across the country, along with national news coverage on TV. This simple innovation got featured in over 70 newspapers. It generated a reach of 4.3 million on Twitter and 3.2 million on Facebook in just 4 days. This led to a huge demand for the chalk sticks from schools and NGOs. Its food grade safety certification got us our biggest prize,
Akshay Patra, the world's largest provider of school midday meals, approached us to distribute these chalks to more than 1 million children every day. We are now working hand in hand with schools and NGOs to provide these chalk sticks for free. Kids' health will now be in good hands, their own.
And right down there at the end, we now have Linda Kersey, who's going to talk about the titanium experience and wonders.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You know, the titanium line was created to honor work in any category that causes the industry to stop in its tracks and consider the way forward. As you can imagine, this was a hell of a year to take on that task. And one of our jury members said, it's what makes the show magical, irritating, and confounding all at the same time. We had a lot of things that we wanted to figure out. There's often confusion about titanium being new or novel. Sometimes the way forward can be remembering what's great from what you've done in the past. We felt a lot of that. We wanted to award work that was hardworking for real clients, that did something great for the industry. And we did a lot of that. We awarded 6 different pieces, and each of them has an incredibly hardworking, great idea at the center of them. And yet, when it came to our Grand Prix, we also went with the Palau Pledge. For us, this wasn't because it was a CSR idea. It was because it went beyond messaging and into a change of behavior, because it was incredibly and beautifully crafted, because it was not interruptive but integrated into the process that someone went through to enter the country, because it changed the minds of governments and made them do something sustainable for people moving forward, because it used people to execute on an idea that said collectively we will hold each other up and we will do this thing. And it did it with assets that held all of the craft, their hallmarks of the best parts of this industry, from the imagery to the gorgeous logo, to the fact that your signature was included and you were part of this idea. It was so incredibly modern. And it took pieces of all of our other pieces that we loved, from, you know, our titaniums, Tida, Blood Normal, Dundee, Londoner, Today at Apple, and it really pulled the truth from all of them and put them into this idea that is world-changing. And when you stop and think of what our industry can do, when you drop the shame at saying we work in advertising, you say this is creativity, it helps change people's minds and behaviors in a world that's full of, you know, rage addiction and misinformation and news. This felt like something we should really be thinking about moving forward. So I'm happy that we both picked it. I'm absolutely overjoyed that we picked it for entirely different reasons, and I think that makes it a real winner for us. Yeah, so thank you.